Well, there is some research now that shows that the number of men who suffer with postnatal depression is as common as the number of women who suffer with postnatal depression, up to about 1 in 10 dads. And as well, I think that signals that there are a lot of stresses on fathers as well, that they have a lot of responsibility with being a new father. They might have to think about where that baby is going to fit into their lives, and they're going to have to think about the relationship with their partner or their wife. So yes, there are a lot of strains on fathers. I think we tend to concentrate more on mothers because we tend to think of mothers as those people who give most care, almost one-to-one care to children. But in this day and age now, a lot of parents are taking equal responsibility, so I think we're going to have to pay more attention to postnatal depression in fathers as well. Parenthood is a time of big change. It's a time of taking on new responsibilities and changing various roles and jobs that you may have, because suddenly there in your life is going to be a new baby who is completely and utterly dependent on you. And when you think that you need to change the nappy of a new baby well over 4,000 times before it becomes continent, it begins to give you an idea of the sort of responsibilities that you're going to have in store as a new parent. I think having a new baby in a family does throw up all sorts of thoughts for both the mother and the father about what their roles are, and am I going to be a good dad, am I going to be a mother, how should I be a good dad, what should I do, how am I going to be a good mother. And there are all sorts of things to think about. I think the most important thing is the parents are able to talk amongst themselves, or if you're a single mum, you're able to talk with people close to you about what's happening and those issues. Health visitors are often very useful people to do that with, or if you've got friends close to you, or even your own parents, how did they cope with it? So it's a good time to begin to assess some of those things. The parents of the baby sometimes have to sort of renegotiate their relationship. They go from being boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife to now to being parents and everything that entails. So there are a lot of stresses and strains. We tend to neglect our mental health a lot of the time when we're going through stresses and strains, and I think people generally tend to think a lot about their physical health. It's largely because you can't, it's not like a broken leg where you can see what the problem is. Mental health is something that we all experience, but it's difficult to say where it is. You know, something that happens in our mind is more difficult for us to understand than something physical, a rash that we can look at, as I say, or a leg that's been broken. So therefore mental health is sometimes harder to think about and recognise, and yet all the time all of us experiencing emotions and are being affected by what's going on around us. So one way of preparing for parenthood is to really give some thought to what's going to happen. And antenatal classes are often a good way of beginning to prepare for parenthood and give some thought to things.